All right, chain breakers. I'm sitting on the couch with Solomon Savoy of Faith-Based Workplace. Today we're talking about narcissistic women. All right, that's a topic that we don't, sometimes we shy away from it a little bit. So we're talking about narcissistic women, witchcraft, and love spells. Let's break those chains. All right. Welcome to Narc-free Living's Chain Breaker Conversations, where we break the chains of abuse link by link. I am Shannon Savoy, prophetess, certified life coach, narcissist abuse recovery coach. And here at Narc-free Living, we equip, empower, and educate to eradicate the chains of narcissism. All right. So we want to empower survivors to go from victims to thrivers. And it is my God-given mission to help the wounded become warriors. All right. And I have a very special guest with me. You might have seen him on my channel, on my YouTube channel, or seen him or seen me on his. This is my husband, Solomon Savoy Jr. And let me give a little bit about his bio. Welcome, Solomon.
Hey.
I feel like I should have like some applause in the studio. Right. Thank you, Mike. All right. So Solomon is a man on the move. He is an Army veteran, regional safety manager. He is the founder of Faith-Based Workplace, LLC. He is a real estate professional, YouTuber, and certified life coach. All right. So Solomon and I co-labor together. We talk about narcissism from a biblical perspective on both of our channels and both of our ministries. So we just want to welcome Solomon here today, and we're just going to have a conversation on narcissistic women and, some traits, some signs, your experiences, right? So thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Amen. All right. So make sure you speak into the mic, Solomon. Don't be nervous. All right. So I'm going to give a little bit, and then I'm going to come to you with a question.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give a little background, right?
All right.
So we know that male narcissists are usually the face of narcissism, right? I always say that. They're the face of diagnosed narcissists, but I always say make no mistake. There are a lot of narcissistic, Jezebelic women that are just as wicked, just as diabolical as their counterparts. And I think that women get away with a lot more because men are diagnosed at a higher rate, but women kind of slide under the radar. And I don't think a lot of times men have the language to articulate what they've gone through. So a lot of times a man will just say, oh, she just crazy.
Yeah.
She just slashed my tires, or she bleached my clothes, and not that those things make you a narcissist, but there are a lot of other signs. So I think women can get away with a lot more, and society coddles women a lot more. And a lot of times women have a problem with accountability, and I'm a woman, right? Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of mean girls and evil girls. Sometimes they're bullies. Sometimes your mother is your first narcissist. Some are covert, overt. So they are women, they are mothers, daughters, sisters. They are in the workplace. They are in churches. We know that, right? They are in communities. They are young. They are old. They are board leaders. They are homemakers and everything in between. But they specialize in creating discord, being controlling, domineering, and tearing down men, emasculating men, women, and children. And I don't think society in large recognizes the damage that women can do. What do you think about that?
I think you hit spot on. I mean, with the women narcissists, I think the reason why they fly under the radar because men let them. If you think about it that way, I think men allow them to slide under the radar because, like what you said, because we call them crazy and we don't have the verbiage. And I think now, like men like me and other men that are speaking out are coming to a realization that no, these women are not crazy. They're narcissistic, and it's other traits that's in that we're going to discuss, I guess.
Right. And it's not to diagnose. We don't diagnose narcissists. We leave that to the doctors, but we do discern spirits by the Holy Spirit, right? So you're absolutely right. And that's good what you said, like men. More men are talking about it. Men such as yourself, talking about their experiences, and it's not to diagnose and say, oh, because it's like a buzzword now, you know. So it's not to say that everybody's a narcissist, but it helps when people have the verbiage and they are able to articulate what they've been through. Because the more we talk, the more we see how similar our situations are, right? Right. So let's go. I'm gonna give you a little background, then I'm gonna ask you some questions. So for those who don't know what a narcissist is, the world calls it narcissistic personality disorder. In the Bible, it is the Jezebel spirit. You can see it in Saul. You can see it in a number of characters or people that were in the Bible. Just Jezebel was the most prominent, the prominent character where we see that spirit displayed, right? And it can be a man or a woman, as we are talking about today. And we can read about this in 2 Chronicles, where we see Jezebel had a daughter, or King Ahab and Jezebel had a daughter, and her name was Athaliah or Athaliah, whichever one you prefer to say, right? And we see how when two people come together, their offspring also can create a narcissist, right? Because there are narcissistic Jezebelic children, and one of those was Athaliah, and she was wicked. So when she killed all the grandchildren except for one grandchild, just so she could remain in power. And so that is the mindset of a female narcissist. She's a sociopath. Sometimes she's relentless and stops at nothing to remain in control. And that woman sacrificed her own bloodline, her own children. And we actually, now she was a physical killer, right? Or had them killed. But we also see that in our families where the women, they do it in a different way. So they're sacrificing their children, they're emasculating their sons, they're turning their daughters into narcissists. So it's just done in a different way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can see that with the way the character you're talking about, Athaliah,
Athaliah or Athaliah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, but I guess the modern day woman, they doing the same thing, because we talk about generational curses all the time. So you look at the women, whether it's the mother or whoever, grandmother, whatever, you know, coming down the family bloodline, you can see how the women are raising. I always talk about this. They raising baby narcissists sometimes. So they basically the reason why the family is in the situations they in because of witchcraft, sorcery, and all these other things they have going on.
Right. So they're doing the same thing, just in a different way. It's in a more covert way where it's not in your face as much. Yeah. But they're doing the same thing. Yeah, that's a good point. So what are some signs of a female narcissist that you may have seen or experienced?
Vindictive, selfish, self-centered, controlling, sneaky. I always call them like CIA and FBI agents, because they, you know, when they covert, you just never see them coming, especially when she's a female. Yes. But they use they sexiness or their seductiveness to like lure you in. So that's kind of the main ones that stick out for me, that when you talk about a female.
Right. That vindictiveness, and they give the silent treatment like no other.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I don't know how I forgot about that one.
Right. I grew up with that. You know, if you did something wrong, you didn't talk about it. You got the silent treatment. Yeah. So it was like you really didn't know what you did wrong. You had to figure it out. Yeah. And so that creates like that anxiety, and that, you know, because you don't attach properly. So you look for that subconsciously in other relationships. So when your partner does it to you, if you grow up with that, you think it's normal when people get mad at you, they just don't talk to you. Yeah. So the silent treatment is a big one. What about, and you said vindictiveness, withholding affection. Have you seen that? Yeah,
withholding affection I think is huge. I think that especially when you married or dating, but we're talking about marriage. So when you married and they withhold, you know, affection, we're not even talking about sex, just, you know, physical touch and things like that they know that you like. I mean, you got to look at that as well. They'll withhold that because they know that that's something that you crave and something that you need. Right. So women would definitely do that when they're narcissistic.
Right. And then what about playing the victim?
Well, men and women both play the victim, but, you know, we're talking about the female. So, yes, she's definitely going to, you know, go out there, start all the mess, and then she's going to run behind and then say, oh, no, it wasn't me, I'm the victim. And, you know, but it's kind of messed up when you think about it, though. Because the men run over there taking up for her, not realizing that she's actually the one that's in charge of the whole situation. She started it.
Right. She started. So how many times have we seen men Like they'll go defend, and this is why society, some men in society are, they're slow to defend women because I saw a case in New York, right? And I don't know if you remember me talking about this on my YouTube channel. A woman got into an argument. She was in New York, went to the bodega, couldn't afford a bag of chips or something like that. It was her and her daughter. She couldn't afford it, got into it with the man behind the counter. She got into it with the man. She went upstairs, got her boyfriend, and he shot the bodega owner. So now he's in jail, and the man is dead. The daughter is traumatized because she's witnessed all of this. And guess who? Guess who's free?
Yeah, the woman,
right, she's free. And that's what a lot of times they'll do. They'll create situations, they'll throw a rock and then hide their hands. And so how do you see this play out in the family dynamic with that?
I mean, a family dynamic is the same thing. So you'll see a wife call her brothers because not that the husband put the hands on her or anything. It's just they had an argument, disagreement. She don't like what was said or was told, so she'll call her brothers or call her mom, and the next thing you know, they all at the home. And then they beat up on the husband, and then she'll just sit back. So the husband gets beat up and might have to go to, the hospital or whatever. But at the end of the day, the woman caused that whole thing.
Right.
But she's gonna play victim, like he did this, he did that. And then if you have, a kingdom man or somebody that just have just a little sense to walk over there and be like, you know what, did he put his hands on you? I'm like, well, no. Well, I mean, y'all just having a disagreement. You ask the questions and then you'll figure out it was just a disagreement. All marriages have disagreements. That don't mean somebody got to get beat up or anything like that. So.
Right. And we could run down the list. There are so many times where that happens where they'll involve other people in their relationship. Now, if this is domestic violence or something like that's wrong.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about cases where the person is lying. Remember that video that I did on TikTok or YouTube, and the woman, if you remember, the woman and the man were arguing, and then she was like, she lunged at him, and and then he lunged at her, and then she fell back, and she was like, I'm gonna call my dad.
Yeah, I'm gonna call my dad. Yeah, I remember that.
Right, and he didn't even touch her.
He didn't touch her, yeah.
He did not touch her. So those are the things that we are talking about. It's absolutely wrong to throw a rock and then hide your hand and then scapegoat somebody else for what you did. So what about jealousy and envious? Have you seen that?
Yeah, seen that as well. From the man point of view, when a woman is jealous, that's a whole different level. Because we talk about men being jealous all the time, but I think when the woman is jealous as well, and you could be a waitress. Right. Oh, don't talk to her. I'm trying to get my food order. Right. Some water and some tea. I mean, but so it's different instances like that where the woman can make things very hard for the man to just function because he can't talk to no woman nowhere because every woman, I guess, he trying to talk to.
Right.
But that's insecurity on her part, not the man.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations where this is when I was before we got married, right? And like it would be a work event. Now, me and the man may have talk at work or something like that, but then when his wife comes to the function, like you act like you don't know me. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Don't talk to me then, but I also had to realize that he was probably trying to keep his household, which do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's some underlying issues because I wouldn't want you to be like that. Like you communicate and, have friendships. And then when I come around, it all shut down.
No talking. No
right. Don't say nothing. Shannon's here. Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to be like that?
Yeah, that's controlling and manipulation right there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's no way to live.
Nah.
And that's no way to have a healthy relationship where you can't even be yourself. Now you're walking on eggshells.
Yes.
You're not being yourself.
Right.
Yeah, so it changes the whole dynamic of the relationship. And so when somebody is jealous and insecure, that's an inside job. That's something that they have to work on. Because if you start to just cater to that person, you'll, and I'm not saying not, be respectful. Let's be respectful. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to lose the essence of who I am because you're insecure.
Right.
Yeah, so we see that a lot, right? What about no accountability or lack of accountability? Does not admit when they are wrong.
Ooh.
Come on, talk about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, the accountability, I mean, we talk about that all the time. Just women in general, just not being accountable. But when you talk about a narcissistic woman, she's not going to be accountable for anything, no matter what happens. It could be an argument that she started, like we just talked about. It could be, the kids didn't get picked up from school. She's not going to be accountable. She's going to be like, well, why you didn't do it? Or why, I'm busy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Well, we all busy. We all doing things, but we got to take accountability. Okay, I forgot, or, things like that. So it just comes to one of those things when you're talking about a narcissistic woman. She's not going to take accountability for anything. None of our actions or,
Right. I did the best I could.
I did the best I could. And that's what a lot of mothers say that's narcissistic. I did the best I could, so, hey, that's what you got. But your best wasn't good enough, so now what?
Right. And I always say your best, this is what I tell the kids, right? I apologize when I hurt them. Like, me and you, we do that because we realize we're flawed beings. We're going to be flawed parents. Yeah. But a narcissistic parent can't give you that. And if they do give you that, if they do say, I'm sorry, they really don't mean it. They're going to continue to do, what they do, know. But I always tell the kids, like, I could have done the best I could, and it still could have hurt you. So I acknowledge the pain that I caused you. I could have did, I was working, I missed some things. So I acknowledge that instead of acting like I'm a perfect parent. Yeah. So I think that's the difference. Narcissistic parents, they, since we're talking about parents right now or women, they definitely do that. It's just all about me, what I did, what I sacrificed for you, and now you owe me blood.
Yeah, you owe me a house, a car, and all that other stuff. You got to retire me. I heard that before.
Right. So that's false responsibility.
Yeah, you're putting too much responsibility on the child. Because if you look at it, the situation we talking about a mother, like, okay, why didn't you had the same opportunity I have as a child coming up? So you could have been that millionaire or whatever. So I could have had an easier life. But now you want me to take care of you. But, hey.
Yeah, so it's the parent begins to live vicariously through the children.
Through the child, yeah.
And that's when we have a lot of parents on social media. Hey, I'm not dinging you if you do that. That's just not our thing. But a lot of parents push their children to be in Hollywood, push their children to be on TikTok. And the children may not even want to do it, but because the parents are living out their dreams and they want to make it at any cost, they're willing to sacrifice their children's privacy, their children's, the children's privacy to make it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's really not in that child's best interest to be on Front Street like that so early. But this is, hey, I'm no hit on those who do that. Do what you want to do, but just keep that in mind. Right. Not to live vicariously through your children and put that responsibility. We see that a lot with mothers and sons, narcissistic mothers and sons. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, it's kind of what I just alluded to. Like they want you to retire them and basically, do everything for them. But when you look back at the situation when you came up as a man in the household, as a child, I guess I should say, you wasn't given every opportunity you could to be the man that you should be, because the mother was out there, doing whatever or, but they want everything. And, they want their cake and their ice cream and want to eat it and all that other stuff. But it doesn't justify, the parenting that they did. Yeah, I love you as my parent, but it don't mean I have to do this, and the third for you, So.
Right. And a lot of people get honor and they get honor that parent. You still honor. That does not mean you be obedient to a narcissistic parent, because they're out of order already, which is why they want to depend on you or their child to take care of them, because they're already out of order. Right. If they were in order and in alignment with God, God would provide for them. But because they're out of order, now they have to get their children to take care of them. So it's really crazy, right? Let's see what else. We'll name some of the other traits before I ask you some other questions. We talked about control, and so I guess the difference that I see between male and female narcissists, most of the female narcissists that I've encountered were more covert. Most of the males that I experienced were overt, like they were. It was more like in your face, where the females or the women, they try to befriend. They see something in you. And I always talk about like Wonder Woman and Cheetah, right? So Wonder Woman had it, right? And then Cheetah, you remember that movie? Yeah. Right, Wonder Woman was in 1984. Yeah. So Wonder Woman took Cheetah under her wing And then what happened? Tell us about what
She
happened.
basically stole her identity. I mean, that's basically what she did. I mean, because you look at the movie, she basically all the sexiness and everything that Wonder Woman had, the beautifulness, because Cheetah was just overlooked. Whatever her name, her other character name was, she was just overlooked in the movie, and she wanted that experience to be on Front Street and to be liked, and everybody loved her like they did Wonder Woman. But once she got that fame, it just went to her head, and then she wanted to be the only one, and she ended up being like a beast or something. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So she tried to take, even though Wonder Woman took her under her wing, she tried to
She wanted to take her out.
Yeah. She became her enemy.
Yeah.
So that's the things that a covert narcissist does. They try to get in with you only to take you out.
Yeah.
Whether it could be a mother, it could be a child, it could be, those are the things that I've seen a lot of women do, which is why they slide under the radar, because they come in being the victim, like they act like they can't do anything. They're trying to learn from you. All the while, they're really like they're backstabbers. They smile in your face.
Operate social media, but they really can.
Right. Now that's what we see. Especially some of the older ones. They will act, "Oh, how do you work this thing, baby?
Can you do this for me?
Can you?" Right.
I mean, you got 4 million followers on Facebook. You don't know how to operate.
Right. But then this is what we see. How you work this? But then they have 12 accounts on every social media platform. Ask us how we know. How do I know? Because it's happened to me. This happened to me, a female narcissist that we later found out was really a witch, right? So she acted as if she did not know how to work social media. And then come to find out, when I went to block her, I had to keep blocking her. She was like a roach. She for every account that I blocked, she created 3 more. And I'm like, how did you you act like you can't do anything, but you really can. So you playing me. You trying to play in my face. This is really what you're trying to do.
Pretty much.
Right. How you work this, baby? They know technology. Don't let an old covert narcissist fool you. They should listen. She know technology. She just gonna act like she don't. She got 12 different accounts. Listen, you try to block her on one, she got 5 more. Don't worry about it. All right. So let's see. So we talked about being the victim or the hero. They play the victim like no other. We talked about jealousy. What about have you seen this, and not just with you or your life, overbearing parent or mother-in-law, and how that affects like the man in the relationship?
Yeah, I think when you have an overbearing mother-in-law, when you have that, it controls the marriage. So the man can't be the head of the household because you got the mother-in-law that's the head of the household. So you can't really lay down the law. Now, I'm not saying you laying down the law, but you can't really tell, hey, this is what we're gonna do to save money. This is what we're gonna do because you gotta constantly give to the mother-in-law and do this for the mother-in-law because she come first. So instead of being God, then husband, then wife, it's mother-in-law, then God somewhere in there, then the wife, then the man. So it's because the mother-in-law is in charge of everything. So she's going to have those conversations where she's going to control. Even though she stayed 3 hours away, she's going to control everything in your household. Yeah,
so true. And we've seen, whether on TV or something like that, we've seen cases where, like, the man and woman wanted to move. They couldn't even move. Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, a sick parent. They just couldn't move because they had to be near that narcissistic mother, and she wouldn't allow for them to move. For whatever reason. Yeah. It's the control. Right. It's the control. She want them close to her so she can control. I think if they go across the country or something, she loses a grip on them because now she can't really see what they're doing and pay attention to them. Because when they, 20, 30 minutes, she'll just pop up at your house. Right. Ask me how I know. No boundaries. No boundary. Yeah. Pop at your house and don't talk to you either. Right. And open the door for you. Right. Wow. Right. So it's that enmeshing, and we see that with sons a lot, where the mother will, if it's a narcissistic mother, or I guess daughter too, right? Since we're talking about women here today, right? The narcissistic mother will enmesh, so it gives the illusion that they're close, but they're really not close, and that's what I went through. It was enmeshment. So you can't tell where the mother ends and the children begin because they're, so there's no autonomy. So they just grow up still, and they can be married and have a family, but like you said, the mother is still controlling. There's no leaving and cleaving. They're still enmeshed and soul tied to the parent. Right. So it messes up the dynamics of the marriage. Yeah. Which is contrary to God's plan, right? Right. Right. So let's see, what else? Do you think it takes men longer to detect or discern a narcissistic woman?
Yes and no. And the reason why I say yes is because it's like we said earlier, men don't have the verbiage and they just now coming to realization, just like a lot of women come to realization about narcissist abuse. So I think we take longer to catch on because we just think, oh, it's just another crazy woman, or maybe she's just different. Yeah, she's different, all right. She's narcissistic. So,
Right.
but I think once you're discernment and you start becoming a prayer warrior, like me, I had to become a prayer warrior. I had to realize this is a spiritual battle, not just a physical battle. Because I'm battling in the court system, but not realizing, I got to also battle this stuff in the spiritual realm. So once I realized that, then it's a different look at it. So now my discernment is on another level. I can see, now I ain't say like some people, I can see them across the street. I'm not that good, but when they get in my presence, they start saying certain things, or they body form. I'm looking at them like something about her. My spirit is like vexed, so I'm like, nah, something is off. But before, I couldn't. You could have 20 narcissists around, I wouldn't recognize not now.
Right, right. That's so true. So the more, once you awaken, now, your Holy Spirit really tells you, like, pay attention. Yeah. Like, something is off.
Something off about that person.
Yeah, because there's been situations where you discern first, that, like, like something's off with her, so that's absolutely true. And I think in some cases, I think a lot of times men are under that bewitchment. They're seduced by either charm or guilt or looks or whatever it is that's drawing them, and a lot of times it's a mother wound. A lot of times it's either the narcissistic mother or generational curse somewhere in the bloodline, right? And so I think once they awaken, then they can see it, just as what you said. And I think I think sometimes men gaslight themselves, like, am I tripping? Which women do too. Yeah. Yeah, I think we both do. Yeah. Yeah, but like you said, because men don't have the language, and I think women are naturally more intuitive, and I think a man, once he really gets in tune with God, then that comes out a lot more, and they're able to discern.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, so were you with a narcissistic woman? Have you experienced this in your personal life?
Yes. A few times at work, and just experiencing right now at work. It's another story, but being around narcissistic women is not something that I wanted to do or be around, but it's something I've come in contact with. But now, like I said, now I recognize it, so now I see it. So even in the workplace, I have a certain woman that I can see it. I ain't never met her in person, but the conversations on the phone and the emails, it's just like trying to be a controlling spirit. Yeah. Like, I already have a mother, I don't need a mother. But
they love that.
Yeah. So I've witnessed that. Even in the marriage and stuff, just witnessing. Didn't know what it was when I was in the marriage. It wasn't until I came out of the marriage, but just realizing all the traits like we just named. You're like, oh, okay. This is not just a crazy woman. This is demonic. And it takes somebody that's very, very evil and vindictive and controlling to do what happened to me. It's like, wow. Like, you can do all that? Like,
Yeah. So what you talking about, what happened to you, for those that don't know? For those that don't know.
Well, the small version of it, basically, we were married, and she got married to somebody else in Honduras while we were still married, and I didn't know. Wow. And we got married in 2012. Once I started doing some paperwork research, I didn't find out till the end of 2016. So she got married to somebody in Honduras in 2014. 2
years after y'all were married.
Yeah.
That's dirty.
Yeah. And I didn't know nothing about it. It's just one of them things that, I'm like sitting there like, wait, what? And I didn't know. And the only reason why I found out is because she's supposed to go on a trip to Jamaica, and I just happened to call her, and the plane was landing. And the pilot just happened to say, "Welcome to Rotan, Honduras." Wow. And she hung up the phone. So
and you said, like, what, Rotan? What? I thought
like Rotan. I thought you were going to Jamaica with your brother. And her brother didn't even go. It was her and her daughter.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Who goes to Jamaica with their brother?
Well, they do.
Oh, okay.
They do. Yeah.
Right. A little strange. Right. So, I mean, and of course, I know that story. But I remember when we were dating, you told me that, and I was just, like, in shock. Like, like, that's another level of psychopathy.
Yeah, and to hide it for that long, I mean, that's not
right.
I don't even know they got another name for covert narcissist, but that's on a whole nother level
like
of
malignant.
Covert. Yeah, that's to hide that for that long, and then not only lied to me, she lied to the man she got married to in Honduras, because she told him I was just the man that helped take care of the children.
You was like the housekeeper.
Yeah, I'm the housekeeper. Like
Belvedere, Mr. Belvedere.
I just cook and take the kids to football and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So
a house husband.
I'm a house husband. Yeah.
What the heck?
Hey,
yeah.
Can't make this stuff up.
Right. So tell them what happened so we can wrap that part up. Okay, so you found out.
Found out, and then when I found out, when she landed, I went to Honduras. Didn't see her. I seen her when I was about to leave, but I didn't never see her.
Because you was like, I'm getting on the plane.
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting on the plane. I booked the plane, and I said, I'm going to Honduras. I booked on Spirit. Don't get on Spirit, but it's another story. But I went there, and I went there with evil intentions to go do something. But thank God that even when I got there, I actually, when I checked into the hotel, that night I rode around to see if I can find them. But later on that night, actually, found myself crying out just on the floor, just like, God, like, what am I doing? Why am I even here in Honduras? Like, what am I doing? Because you can fight for your marriage, but then you can fight for your marriage. And I don't know if I was trying to do either. I just was trying to fight, but, so it's like, what am I doing, So, when I talked to her in person, she did
because you didn't see her there.
I seen her there, but it was,
right.
Yeah, I seen her, but she came see me and she like cried and then she left me to go back and be with him. So I'm sitting there like.
And that is crazy in itself.
Yeah. Because around Mother's Day or something like that, they had a big thing planned for her. So I was like, oh, this is.
So she was like, I don't care about my first husband, number one.
Yeah.
My real husband.
Yeah.
I'm going to go be with.
I got to go do some stuff.
You didn't came all the way over here.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's heartbreaking. That's like heart-wrenching on another level, Yeah. Oh, my baby. Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm good.
Too bad. So sad for you, girlfriend. All right. Your loss is my gain. Thank you very much. All right. So anyway, so you had to go through what you always say, your heartbreak to get to your healing.
Yeah.
So, and you crying out to God, he showed you mercy in that situation.
Right.
He showed you his love, his gentleness, and he knew that he had something better for you. Not that I'm better, but he had.
Oh, no, you are. Just go ahead and put that out there. Oh, you said it out there.
You know what? Thank you. I don't think I'm better than anybody else like that, but I know what you mean. Character-wise, right?
Right.
All right. So, I mean, that's hard.
Yes.
And so a lot of, I don't know if a lot of men have been through that situation, but I'm sure they can, relate to heartbreak on that level. And a lot of men don't talk about the heartbreak. They talk about the, being with other women. But what about when your heart gets broken by a narcissistic woman?
Well,
she's going to,
Yeah, I think the reason why men don't like to talk about it is the ego and the pride thing. So I don't want to go tell my other brothers, man, my wife cheated on me and went to Honduras and got married. Somebody looking at me like, you thinking, but you actually got some men that's out there that's really go love on you and like, bro, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But a lot of men think, or they don't have those men around them that can pray with you. That's at the end of the day, you need somebody to talk to and pray with you. So we don't have those men. So you got men that's gonna be like, man, bro, just go get another woman.
Oh.
But that ain't what you need though. You need to go through healing and deliverance and a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's tough, right?
Yeah.
Real tough. So talk real quickly about parental alienation. What is that?
Ooh, parental alienation, basically when you, I guess, married to a narcissist or had a child with a narcissist, and then that narcissist is going to take everything you're doing, so far as your children, and they call it co-parenting, but we call it counter-parenting or parallel parenting because everything you do, they're going to do the exact opposite. So if you say the children need to be in bed by 7 o'clock, they need to have their homework done by 5, and no candy, they're going to get the kids candy. The kids can go to bed at midnight, and they go watch horror movies. Everything you told them not to do, they go do it. Well, I'm a parent too, so I ain't see a problem with it. But that's what happens when you parental alienation. And then to go deeper into that real quickly, they basically go tell the children a lot of evil stuff about you, which could be a lot of lies. So what they're doing, they destroying the child and father, child and mother. When we talking about women, child and father relationship. So the children growing up thinking their dad is a certain way. But it ain't like that. It's just the mother just fed them a bunch of evil stuff because of whatever going on in her head, So, yeah.
Right. And their goals, so with this is what most people don't understand because they'll try to stay for the children. We're going to touch that next. They'll try to stay for the children or co-parent with a parent. You can co-parent with a healthy person, not with a narcissist. Right. And so people want the fantasy of, oh, we're co-parents, we're doing this thing, we're one team. You're not on the same team with the narcissist. A narcissist is on a whole they're in their own version of reality. And so this is what a lot of people do. So they stay emotionally detached. They still have soul ties with these people. And they, you know what I mean? So they can't see that they'll never have this with that. And that messes them up. And so they keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. not understanding the narcissist is there to kill, steal, and destroy however they can. And they're going to use your children as a pawn because they hate their children more. They hate you more than they love their children because they don't love you and they don't love their children and they don't love themselves. So it's like just a one big diabolical mess. And when the healthy parent can realize that, for one, that child is under bewitchment, just like they were. They're being fed lies, all these things about you to destroy the relationship. And that narc in the middle is getting off. It seems like they're not, but it seems like they're getting off scot-free while they're messing up the relationship. But sooner or later, the children, if they're in God, they'll come to the realization that something is wrong with that parent. Yeah. And it took me a lot of times. I was alienated in a different way, but it took me like 40-something years to realize I had been lied to. And when that happened, it was like, wait a minute. Remember you asked me that question? It was just a question. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. And that just unraveled like my whole life. Yeah. Because it was wrapped up in a neat little bow of lies. And then when you pull that one string, everything came out. And I realized that I had been lied to about everything that I've, in childhood. And I had to deal with that and grieve the parent that I thought I had. So I'm on the other side of the alienation. You're on the, the other side. So it's tough either way.
Yeah, either way.
Because they hate your relationship with your child. They want to destroy that and destroy that love. All right. So what are your thoughts? One of the last questions. What are your thoughts on staying for the children? Okay.
Well, I mean, in a healthy relationship, yes, you're going to stay for your children. But in a narcissistic relationship, we're talking about women. So if you stand for the children are going to look to me, in my eyes, from a man point of view, the children are going to look at you as a weaker man because you stand for the children. But you stand in a abusive relationship. When I say abusive, I don't just mean physical. I mean verbal. I mean emotional. All the abuses, you put them all together. So you're going through all that. And you're not really being a man. And then you throw in, like you said, the mother-in-law. So you got the mother-in-law that's controlling it. So you got that added on top of it. Yeah. You're never going to be a man in your own household. So you stand for the children to do what? What you need to do, you need to get healthy. Well, you need to get out, get healthy, and then come back for your children. Yeah. And if you can, I mean, I've seen cases where, the man can take the children because the mother is that unfit. It's rare, but it does happen. So if you can take the children, hey, more power to you, do it that way. But stand for the children. I don't think it benefits you or the children because you continue to being hurt and broken down as a man. And the children, whether they boy or girl, they getting broken too because they looking like my dad is always getting beat up. So they feeling sorry for you, and you're supposed to be the man of the house. So stand for the children doesn't benefit you or the children. It's only benefiting to the woman because she, whatever she's getting out of you, supply, whatever you want to call it, it's beneficial to her.
Right. And we see it so many times. People will say, well, I'm standing for the children. I'm a product of that, and I see it doesn't work out like people think it is. Yeah. It does not, because that's more time that narcissist has to destroy you and your children. Yeah. And so people kind of convince themselves, oh, God told me. I'll be like, God, listen, don't put that on God. Don't put that. Now, if you want to do that, but don't put that on God, because abuse is sin. Whether it's emotional abuse, so you're telling God, you're saying that God wants you to stay in something that he didn't ordain for you in the first place.
Yes.
No. No. All right. And I wanted to talk about witchcraft and love spells. You remember that video that you did? Talk about that video.
Yeah, I don't even know the lady, but anyway, I just seen it because one thing we was talking about this fall when we was driving over here. People think I watch a lot of content. I really don't. I don't watch a lot of people content, so they'll tell people names. You say people. I have no idea who the people are. But the woman was saying about to get a man, the first thing you should do is have a binding spell on them. That's witchcraft and sorcery. So you can't just say I love the man and let him date you and court you and get to know him. You got to put a binding spell. That's witchcraft. So if a woman has to put a binding spell on you or any kind of witchcraft or sorcery. And a guy had commented on that video. He was saying, I don't know where he's from, but he said he was taught as a young man. He's a bishop. He said, I was taught as a young man not to eat every woman's spaghetti. I was taught the same thing. I'm from Louisiana. I was taught the same thing because women, when they're on their cycle, they'll go in and put that stuff in the spaghetti. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's no. Okay, it's real. It's real. It's real. Voodoo is real in Louisiana. Trust me, it's real in Haiti and a couple other places, but it's real. So when they got to put binding spells and do stuff like that, or bury your drawers in the backyard so you can't leave the house, that is all real stuff. So nah, I'm good. Give me a regular one. Like I don't need all that witchcraft and sorcery.
Right, and that's so real. So same thing. My family's from Mississippi, so
Yeah,
same
there you
thing.
Go. From the South.
Yes,
the dirty South. For
right,
real.
don't eat the spaghetti.
Nah.
The drawers in the back. You're like people think like, oh well, I don't believe in that stuff. So
it believes in you.
Right. Unless you cover by the blood, it can work. But a lot of men are bewitched. And they don't realize it because they don't know, why can't I leave this woman? Like something keeps drawing me back. It's a demonic soul tie. You know, it's a covenant that you've made with it, especially if you're having sex and fornicating, things of that nature. So it's a covenant that gets made, and a lot of men they see the woman as toxic, but they can't even break away because of guilt, because they want to keep their family together. So many things, but a lot of times it's bewitchment. Just a binding spell could be put on them. Yeah, so it's sick. Yeah, and then that video, she was like, I'm gonna put a binding spell. You should put a binding spell on your man, so it binds you to that man, and it's kind of sick, right? Right. So so the good news: how does God redeem the family bloodline from being in a narcissistic family or woman? And I'll start off, and then you can tell me what you think about that. It's just he always sends somebody to help you out of that situation, or when you call out, like he will, if you call out, he'll release you a lot of times from those situations in due time, right? So in a narcissistic family, there are scapegoats, just like with Jezebel and Atalia. There was the grandchild that was hidden, so she killed all the grandchildren except for one. So just like in those family situations, there will be somebody that is the truth teller in that situation. Now that's the one that's gonna get beat up the most, right? As we know in this community, that's the one that's gonna get picked on. That's the one that's gonna get told, "Oh, you're a liar." The family's gonna turn against you. But I say just stay the course in that. Whether it's a woman, a narcissistic man, realize what this really is at its core, so you can begin to really break free. So your final thoughts on this, on narcissistic women overall?
Recognize the signs, the red flags. Don't just. I think a lot of times men and women, we ignore the red flags.
Yes.
We see them, but we like, I ain't that big. But that small red flag or small issue, if you want to call it that way, or a small problem that we ignore, could become a big problem later on in your relationship. And that's going to be the same issue that you're going to be like, man, I seen that when we first started dating 3-4 years ago. And now it's running rampant in your house. So if you see those red flags, I say call them out. And, especially as, y'all just started dating, that's a good time to break up with somebody because why... I think we loyal to a fault. So we dating somebody and we've been single for a while, like, oh, this is the one. And we see the red flags, like, oh, well, it's not that bad. Oh, it's bad.
And it'll get worse.
Yeah, it'll get worse. So I just recommend, if you dating and doing that stuff, just, be on your P's and Q's, pray for discernment, pray before the date, pray after the date. Ask God, hey, if this person not for me, remove him. And then also, like you always say, who sent you? Did the devil send you or did God send you? And I think you'll be better off. You'll be like, oh, he ain't called me no more. It's the reason why he ain't called you.
Right.
It's the prayer you said.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we have some more resources. Solomon did a video on his story of parental alienation, and I'll link those videos down in the comment section. He's done videos on parental alienation, the takedown, how to fight back, because we want to go more into the healing of this after this conversation. And then I've done videos on mommy dearest, the covert, overt, and malignant mother, the damage on households, husbands, sons, and daughters. I have videos on male narcissists, so check our playlist and our live streams for more on prayer and healing and how to really break those chains. So Solomon, tell them where they can follow you at.
YouTube, faith-based workplace. TikTok, I'm starting to do more videos on TikTok, so it's faith-based workplace 2020. And then I'm on Facebook. I post on there sometime, and I got my website, www.faithbasedworkplace.com.
All right. So thank you so much for being here. This was a good conversation. I pray that something was said that either, will spark a conversation, spark healing, just like more men have the verbiage to articulate, not so we can diagnose, but you can discern the situation that you are in. So I pray this conversation blesses you. Share it with someone. The more we know, the more people can be set free. Never underestimate the power of one chain being broken, one victim being set free, one voice for the voiceless. Let's continue to break those chains.